This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about the difference between high value men and players. That's right, players are the lowest of the low when it comes to status among humans, okay? And let's discuss that a little bit because this is important information. There's a lot of men, especially young men, who believe that, oh my gosh, the more women that he gets to sleep with, the higher value man that man must be. Like, he's absolutely amazing for being able to sleep with that many women. And look at these beautiful women that he's sleeping with, blah, 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 blah. Okay? No more. We're not gonna even lift them up an iota. We're gonna basically push them in the mud, okay? Because that's where they deserve to be. Now, let's explain real briefly why that is. Why are they bad people? Because they are. Now, they're not bad themselves, okay? Because all people are good. However, the behavior is extremely ignorant and very destructive for society. When you look at the world the way it is today, it is only this way, okay? And I'm talking about, women being crazy and all over the place and being promiscuous and sleeping around with tons of people. This only happens because of one, monogamy, that led to players being a thing. If you understand women's hypergamous nature, that will lead you to understand why there are players in the first place, because they just simply need to figure out how to master seduction and then they can manage to get laid. But this is very short-sighted and very immediate gratification, and the more immediate gratification we as a society make use of, okay, and we don't even think about delayed gratification, the worse society is going to get. It makes common sense. It's kind of the same as your finances. If you are using credit cards, okay, continuously on a daily basis, over time, the interest rates are going to kill you, okay? But if you practice delayed gratification, you're basically beginning to develop systems so that you can have passive income instead. It's the real deal. Do you get what I'm saying? Players is a scam. It's like the credit card. It feels like you're rich right now, but society will get destroyed as a natural result. And this is what we need to talk about in this video. So what is the difference? Well, first of all, high value men prioritize wealth and solving world problems before they prioritize women. They understand that women are a wonderful distraction and a reward for effort put in, okay? So it's basically, if I do this, I'm going to get the best possible women in the world. This is a good way of looking at things. If society would work this way, oh my gosh, then we would all be solving problems and making the world a better place because we all want beautiful women. So this is what we're trying to move towards, but what do players do instead? How are they different than men of high value when it comes to that? Well, guess what? They prioritize women. As soon as possible, when they get some testosterone down there, they begin to chase women and try to get laid. As a natural result, money is spent to try to impress women. Oh, and then they figure out, I don't even need money to get laid. Why am I even working so hard? Let me just have a job and then live the kind of relaxed lifestyle and sleep around a bunch as much as possible with my colleagues or at parties or whatever it is throughout the weekend, okay? Over time, players begin to see other people creating wealth, and since they have immediate gratification, they're gonna be like, well, I want fast cars and I want fast women, I want to impress this, that, and the other. And then they begin to chase wealth instead of attracting it to them the way that they're basically attracting women. It's a very, that was point one. Number two, men of high value never sleep with women outside of lifelong commitment. Let me repeat that. Men of high value never sleep with women outside lifelong commitment. I'm going to get somewhere with this one. Please stay tuned to it. Players, on the other hand, they're basically wondering, is it kind of 3 strikes and you're out with women? If she doesn't sleep with me by the 3rd date, yeah, I don't think she's the right one. I don't think she's going to be part of my rotation. And then these same guys complain about the fact that women have high notch counts, meaning that they have multiple sexual partners and history and emotional baggage from having slept around, when they're the ones that are doing it. Like, players literally are racking up women's numbers and then wondering why all these women have high notch counts. This is the complete hypocrisy to nth degrees. All right, let's move on to the next point. Men of high value choose voluntary celibacy or abstinence first, and then when they are going to reward themselves, meaning to settle down and have a family, at that moment in time, their standard is to have 3 women of their choice, 3 beautiful and loyal women of their choice, because that's their standard. Now, you thought that I was going to mention monogamy, but not so. Men of high value understand and have mastered female nature. So they understand the hypergamy. They understand that women need a higher value man than their own status. And that's why 3 in love, as explained on this channel and the Women of High Value channel, is completely necessary. You need to understand that as a man of high value, he does. And players, what do? Well, they basically live the rotational lifestyle and basically sleep around with hundreds and hundreds of women for a time, and then a lot of them settle for monogamy. Like, it's weird and screwed up in the head, but that's what they do. And then some others are basically, well, I'm never going to get married, and I don't really want kids, and I don't want commitment, and I don't want responsibility, and I don't want to grow up. So they basically remain in their femininity without responsibility, or in other words, with irresponsibility for the rest of their lives. And guess who they sleep with? Are they going to be better and better women over time? No, the women that they sleep with, unless they're extremely, disgusting, are going to be older and older and older, meaning more and more masculine, more and more baggage, more and more problems. So players very often go the monogamous route and try to find, it's messed up. Now, could players choose the 3 in love lifestyle? They could in today's world, but in the 3 in love society, they won't be able to. Why is that? Because of their reputation. If they were known as players in the past, fathers are never going to allow these players who have racked up massive notch counts and slept with tons of women to date their daughters. Okay? So in that way, in the 3 in love society, players are actually going to be completely screwed, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's move on to the next one, which actually goes hand in hand with what we just discussed right now, is that high value men ask the fathers for the hand of their daughters. That's going to be a very interesting one as we begin to develop these 3 in love families, but having a complete and amazing connection with the fathers of these daughters to set up 3 in love the right way with the permission of the fathers is going to be crucial. Players, they're like, who's your dad? Who's your father? They don't even know his name. They have no connection with him. They're basically just trying to sleep with the first woman that they can who kind of meets their standards. Okay? Messed up. Once the men of high value are committed, they stick through this relationship, this 3 in love relationship, through thick and thin. Once they committed to 3, they're committed to 3. And what does a commitment mean? It means that they've made a decision. They've basically cut off all other options for the rest of their lives. Okay? If women have issues in this relationship and cause the man problems, he will know as a man of high value that he is the problem. And this is why he's going to look at himself as the issue that he needs to fix, so that he can create a better unburdening environment for the women so that they can continue being unburdened. A man of high value understands female nature to the nth degree, so he prevents a lot of the crap that would occur if a man does blame and does not understand female nature to the same nth degree. Let's move on to the next one. Men of high value never ever uses stimulants. He wants to be an example to his family and to his women and to his kids. So he doesn't smoke. He doesn't smoke weed. He doesn't ever drink alcohol. And he doesn't use any substances that would destroy his body consistently over a long period of time. Why would he do that? Doesn't make any sense. Why would you as a high value man slowly but surely be an example for things that kill your women and children? Doesn't make any sense, and that's why they don't do it. Players, however, are soaked into the immediate gratification thing that they never grow up from, so they're very often stuck with their alcohol and stuck with their smoking, stuck with their weed and their cigars, etc., etc. I don't really agree with that type of mindset. Men of high value are early to rise and early to bed because they want to be productive and have a massive work ethic throughout their entire days and their entire lives. Players, on the other hand, why be successful when women don't need you to be successful? I literally, when I drove Uber, it was about 5 years ago, I was driving Uber and I was driving these players around, okay? You get to see a lot when you drive, Saturday nights, etc. And I remember this one guy who was a loser, okay? And he was like maybe 23, 25, whatever it was. And he had his nice sunglasses on, just kind of slouching in the car, being cool and whatever. Yeah, he was sleeping around a bunch. And guess what? I was asking him about what he did for a living, etc., etc. And then he told me, oh, well, I don't really do much. Like the women that are around me, they pretty much pay for everything that I do. Like my current girlfriend, or the woman that I'm basically, hooking up with once in a while, she wants to pay for my vacation and we're going to Greece or whatever it was. It was just like, yuck, man, get a life. Like what you're doing sucks. Anyway. No offense, but kind of. I want this video to kind of be a little bit offensive to players so that they understand that the lifestyle that they're a part of is not acceptable for society at large, and you should quit. Now, obviously, the players who are watching this video are going to basically shut this video off before we get this far, but those that actually do progress throughout this video, I hope that you understand a little bit of what I'm talking about, and comment down below if you disagree. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Moving on to the next thing is basically trusting women. Men of high value, they trust women. Here the players will be, that's funny. You can't trust women, man. They can't control themselves. Says the player who basically complains that women have high notch counts. And then he also says they can't control themselves. Interesting. Okay, players, when it comes to trust with women, the reason why they don't trust women and they have always very shallow relationships with women, because they never last, is because they've seen it all. Is because they've had women cheat on their husbands and cheat on their boyfriends to sleep with them and lied right in front of them to their partners, etc. And so when they see something like that, they're like, dang, that's what women do. And then that's basically how women act. No, players, those are the women that you attract into your life. You have the type of women that enter into your life are very burdened and masculine women. Unburdened women who are protected by their fathers are never going to be in the vicinities of the places where you hang out unless you day game. But if you day game, you're basically destroying these women who have been protected in the past, who were unburdened, and then you burdened them, and then you made them masculine, and you caused furthermore destruction of society, causing these young women to have problems pair bonding with their future husbands in the future. Congratulations, you're participating in degrading society at large. Don't do that anymore. It's not good for you, it's not good for them, it's not good for anybody. Literally, players, in my opinion, this is what I've seen, they actually over time become mentally unstable. This is what I've noticed. Now, some guys might actually change their ways over time as they begin to settle and having a family, but I've seen a lot of guys who are mentally unstable from having slept with a lot of girls. Was that part of it, or was that prior to their situation of sleeping around with a bunch of girls? Maybe that's why they have a drive towards immediate gratification, is actually not because of the girls, but because of their horrible upbringing. That might be the case. But what I'm seeing is that a lot of players are mentally unstable. Same thing with women who have extreme high notch counts. they are also mentally unstable. And you can't build up families in this type of situation where both genders are mentally unstable. So, not recommended. However, when you're a man of high value, guess what? Women are a reflection of you. So if you as a man of high value fulfill all of these things that I've mentioned on this list today, guess what? You're going to be able to trust these women because they are unburdened. When they are unburdened, they actually are able to be more rational. Did you know that? And if they're rational, they can actually control themselves in difficult situations. And because the universe has blessed us in such a way that women don't cheat unless they are emotionally involved for a prolonged period of time with someone, then you actually, as a high value man with 3 in love, there's a very high chance that these women are going to be extremely loyal to you for life. So you can actually trust women. And when you have that trust with women because you're trustworthy yourself and you've managed to unburden them in the right way and given them emotional fulfillment in all areas of life, guess what? It is going to be shallow relationship because if you got to understand this now aspect and the long-term aspect of shallow and depth, okay? Because shallow is transaction and then nothing more. Maybe some transactions repeat over time. This is what players do. They sleep with someone and then they maybe sleep with them again in the future and then they maybe sleep with them in the future. But it's transactional and it's not continuous, and the player is not really actively involved in that woman's life. He doesn't want to be because she's got a lot of problems. Men of high value, however, they go deep. Why? Because it's shallow transactions, okay, on a continual basis. Obviously, not just the bedroom, but in every aspect of a woman's life. He's not going to be actively part of a woman's life, but he's going to know everything that's happening in her life. So there's going to be shallow transactions of now for a long period of time. And guess what? When things become difficult, he does not leave. And because he doesn't leave, they're actually solving problems. And the more problems they solve in their relationships, the deeper the relationship becomes. Did you know that true joy, bliss, and happiness comes from having both shallow and depth? Both of them. Players only get to experience the shallow aspect, which is why their lives very often become meaningless, without purpose, only for immediate gratification and for that quick fix. Oh my gosh, I am so grateful that I never chose that lifestyle. I could have, but I chose to marry a virgin, and I'm so grateful that I did that. That's what I recommend for you guys, not marrying, okay, but being a virgin until the time when you commit for 3 beautiful and loyal women that you've been preparing for hardcore for several years by being voluntary celibate and abstinent. I support you 100% in terms of going from feminine, low value towards becoming high value and massively masculine. Players, in many ways, unless they change their ways, are going to remain low value and feminine for the rest of their lives. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are absolutely awesome. I'll see you in the next one.